Yo, what up? It's Razor Pop.
Someone asked how they would compare their latest album, Dig Your Own Soul, to their previous ones.
Well, it is part of the process of being together over a number of years. So you learn from previous ways and methods of doing things. This one, there was a lot more telepathy in the studio, but that's natural, you know.
You've got like different factors, like, you know, you've got your producer coming in, Dave Sardi. We found him while we were making the last album. We tried first without him, and then we had to try and find someone to help us make it, so we used him in the end. And now this time round we had him from the start, so that was easier. Then every time we go in the studio it's easier because we're just getting to know each other, and like Gim says, it's more telepathy each time. So and then the other thing to throw in the mix is Noel's overall direction for the album, because he always has an overall kind of, not really an idea, more just he has an idea which songs to use. So he'll pick out 12 songs from our big sort of collection of material, which seems to grow all the time. He picks out his 12 that he thinks is hanging together, and that gives us our direction.
Were they bothered by the lukewarm so-so reviews of their latest album?
The so-so reviews?
Not
no,
so much. I mean,
because
you know, we had this question earlier, which is good and bad reviews. I mean, bad reviews are great. Good reviews are quite hard to take.
Yeah. Medium
reviews, you know, you can be indifferent about, but really you shouldn't take any of them seriously. If you start to believe all the good press you get, then that might affect you, might make you feel too confident. I think the best barometer of how good your album is if you play it to a friend.
And tell you, look at it as well, because the girl who was sat here just before you guys went, so, I've got all these statistics and blah, blah, blah. So, it's had good reviews, this album, how do you feel about that? And it's like Andy just said, well, the good reviews, yeah man. The bad reviews, yeah man. The so-so reviews, yeah man. You know.
And their favourite track from the latest album?
I like Falling Down.
Yeah, I'd say Falling Down at the minute, really into playing it live. And I loved it when it kind of emerged in the studio, because I hadn't even heard of it. And then Noel did a quick demo on the studio floor where he did a guitar, jumped on the drums, got on the bass, went in the booth, sung it, and came up the stairs. And we were like, where did that come from? It was that instant. So it's one of those songs that are right up there. Plus my own song I'm particularly quite happy with as well, you know.
And finally, what do they have to say about their new drummer, Chris Sharrock?
Chris is great. He's got a lot of I don't know what you call it, but a deep memory of Oasis tunes, the same way that we have. So like he remembers the records like it's a different thing to although obviously Alan White was there quite early on, he still always played Supersonic differently, because that was one of Tony McCarroll's songs, so he always got the Alan White version of Supersonic. Whereas with Chris, he's quite respectful to the original versions. He treats them like parts, which is right. But in that, he injects his own personality into it as well somehow, which is kind of like really difficult to do when you're playing these parts, because they're quite exact. But he does that. He's great. It's really, really good. I think all drummers are different, and particularly for me, you know, the one I learnt to play with was Alan White. I always knew what he was going to do next. I always knew when the song was going to finish. I could end the song without looking around, and I could just feel it with Alan, which wasn't the case with Zach or with Chris. I have to look at them to know when they're going to do what, but that doesn't mean that they're worse. It just means that I learnt with Alan.
Yo, what up? It's Razor Pop.